So as you remember, we introduced a quadratic function of this form, f of x equals to ax squared plus bx plus c, and we introduced some new form of quadratic functions. So how do we graph a parabola of this form? The vertex of parabola whose equation is given to you as f of x equals to ax squared plus bx plus c is negative b over 2a. Already saw this. And after finding this x coordinate, you're going to plug that back into the function and find the y value. This gives you the vertex. The x coordinate is negative b over 2a, and the y coordinate is from substitution of negative b over 2a into the function that we saw before. As you remember, you're going to find x-intercept, then we're going to find y-intercept, and then using the vertex, graph the function. So again, the leading coefficient is a. If a is positive, the graph opens up. If a is negative, the graph opens down. Determine the vertex. The vertex is a point, so it has x and also y. So x is negative b over 2a, and y is the substitution of that x into the function. Then you need to find the x-intercept. To find x-intercept, set f of x equal to 0. Remember that you can also use quadratic formula to find x-intercepts. You also need to find y-intercept. To find y-intercept, well, just set x equal to 0 and solve for your y. To graph f of x equals to ax squared plus bx plus c, we went over a lot of steps. Finally, you're going to graph those points and then connect them together. Example for you. Question says, graph the function f of x equals to 6 minus 4x plus x squared. Use the graph to identify the domain and range. Very good. So, determine how the parabola opens up or down. The leading coefficient is invisible 1. You have 1 times x squared. The coefficient of x squared, which is invisible, is 1. Since 1 is positive, it means that the graph opens up. The parabola definitely opens up and it has a minimum. We're going to find the vertex. The vertex, well, the x coordinate has a nice formula. X is negative b over 2a. Well, what is b? B is negative 4. What is a? A is 1. So you have negative 1 divided by 2 times negative 4. Very well. So let us find our x coordinate for the vertex. A is 1, B is negative 4, and C is 6. Substituting the values for A and B into the equation for x coordinate of the vertex, x is negative b divided by 2a. It has a negative sign in front of negative 4 divided by 2 times 1, or negative 4 over 2, or positive 2. You need to substitute these two into the function to find the y value. After substitution, your y becomes 2. So the vertex is 2 and 2. The vertex, or the minimum value, happens at 2 and 2. Very good. Let's find x-intercepts. To find x-intercepts, we're going to set 6 minus 4x plus x squared equal to 0. This equation cannot be solved by factoring. So we prefer to use quadratic formula, which says, hey, x-intercepts or the zeros of a quadratic equation can be found by negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. We have all of these missing elements. B is negative 4, but be careful, you have a negative sign in front of it. Negative, negative, plus minus square root. B is negative 4 to the second power minus 4 A is 1 and C is 6. Divided by 2 times A, 2 times 1. Well, we try to solve it. 4 plus minus square root of 16 minus 24. We have a negative number inside the radical. We have a complex solution. But what's the meaning of a complex solution? It means that there is no intersection with x-axis. As long as you have imaginary number here, it means that there is no intersection with x-axis. The discriminant here is the quantity inside the radical. B squared minus 4ac is also called the discriminant. These are important taking terminologies that you need to feel comfortable and familiar with. So the discriminant, or b squared minus 4ac, is negative. So it means that you don't have x-intercept. There is no intersection with x-axis for this function. Well, we can easily find the y-intercept. To find y-intercept, set x equal to 0. F of 0 is 6 minus 4 times 0 plus 0 squared, or just 6. So the y-intercept is actually 6. The parabola passes through 0 and 6. And finally, the graph itself. Okay, we have the vertex 2 and 2, which is above x-axis. Guys, take a look at the parabola. It never intersects with x-axis. It's above x-axis. This is the parabola that you have. It has a vertex minimum value 2 and 2. At 2, the function takes on its minimum value, which is 2. You have the axis of symmetry, and also you have the y-intercept, which happens at this point. So by connecting these together, you have the graph of your parabola and quadratic function.